G'day and welcome to the video. It's time for hardcore run number 9. There's still no change from our previous run in terms of mod pack modules, shaders and resource packs. Nothing changes with our setup either. So it's time to see what we've got. We spawn into a desert. Pillager outpost. I didn't think it was possible to spawn that close to one of those. I'm already in trouble for a lack of resources in the desert. Having to build my base so close to a pillager outpost is going to be difficult. Alright, my spawn pillar is a sand tower. Yeah, that's going to stand out. Huh, a village. My first bit of good news from this spawn. Well, let's hope there's some decent resources to borrow. Well, let's go for a walk. But try to avoid that pillager patrol that's already out and about. Well, that's a nice hole there. I'm sure once I get some timber to make my starter tools, I can go and take a closer look. Rabbits and a lava pool. Well, there's meat and leather to be had, and that lava pool is also nice and close to spawn. I'm taking the scenic path to the village, hoping that there's something useful nearby that I'll eventually be able to make use of. I think I can see some dirt on the riverside over there, and that might even be a ruined portal to my left. Now to see if there's a tree anywhere. I get to the village first. Hey bales and wheat farms, my food needs are met. I'm sure there's a bed in here I can borrow. Well, this first house gives me a lime bed, and a chest, and wheat, and emeralds. After gathering some hay, the next house I enter turns out to be a library. I'll leave everything for now, but it's a fantastic find. The first farm I stop at gives me wheat seeds, and beetroot seeds. I wasn't expecting to find those. The next house gives me a great find. A crafting bench. No timber, but I'm probably going to have most of my day one supplies just from this village. And now this next chest gives me bread. And I'll have a double chest at the end of everything. I next visit the blacksmith and really score with the chest contents. 7 obsidian, bread, apples, 5 iron, an iron sword, chest plate, and helmet. I'm almost fully set up. I'm posed with a bit of a problem. In order to grab the workstations, and even some of the cobble that's here, I'm going to need to make an iron pick before I can make any stone tools. Well, in a world that lacks much in the way of timber, you do what you can, and eventually things fall into place. I'm soon a stone pick richer. The next villager I spot is a cartographer, which means that this next house should have a cartography table. Haha, this village is really working out well. The next resource I want to collect is of the squishy villager variety, so I barricade a few likely candidates into their workplace using hay bales. After continuing to raid storage chests and workstations, I return to the library and, well, decide to take it all with me. I've swapped my lime bed for a cyan bed somewhere along the way. My second last action in the village is to, well, get a good night's sleep. My last action is to head over and breed some of the villagers' cows. In a desert, I'm not likely to find many just wandering around, so these will come in handy. I take a different path on the way out of the village and find not only some sugarcane, but also that there's a river behind the pillager outpost on the way to the village. And I can see an oak tree nearby. I grab some surface stone from around the lava pit to craft an axe, and I'm soon ready to take on the tree. I have to hope that it drops saplings and that I can get enough dirt to make things all worthwhile. I end up with a couple of saplings and some wood, which all goes nicely with the workstations that I've borrowed from the nearby village. Random dripstone in the desert? Well, this is a bit weird. Turns out there's nothing underneath it. Huh. We'll look at that later. While hanging out on this side of the river, I spot a second tree on my way to the ruined portal. I add to my small but essential collection of saplings and timber. Reaching the ruined portal, I can see another tree and more dirt. Already it's worth it. I collect some magma blocks and the 2 gold blocks before I start looking in the chest, which turns out to have another 2 obsidian. A flint and steel means I'm 1 obsidian short of my own portal. but I can always build one here. I'm a victim of my own success, as I struggle to fit everything into inventory. So I start working out what I can, or should, leave behind. Things are soon sorted out and I pay the lone oak tree a quick visit to top up my logs and saplings. I replant the tree and start the late afternoon trek back to spawn, via the village. It's dark by the time I get back to spawn, but the last couple of days gathering resources have been pretty good. Now it's time to work on the base. The easiest thing to set out initially is a tree plantation, so I can get some reliable timber supplies going. After crafting a bucket, I think about base security and decide on a fence line between the Pillager outpost and me. It's something of an interim solution, as well as being really expensive in terms of timber. An infinite water source is going to be handy, but I'll use the river in the opposite direction to the Pillager outpost to fill my bucket. The village cats have been hunting and have been nice enough to leave some rabbit meat and leather for me to pick up. I get my infinite water source set up, as well as collecting more rabbit meat, but it's terrible weather and fairly dark, so I'll leave the work till the next day. I've got my trees going well, and it's about as good as I could expect right now. I craft some more fences and get on with building. The next thing I need to think about is establishing some sort of farmland and trying to secure my food supplies. I pick a suitable patch of flat ground next to spawn and start putting in the first field. And we're best buddies with a creeper. Again. Unless it dropped down from the sandhill, it had to come out of that cave next to spawn. All I wanted was my farmland. Well, according to our rules, that's it for this world. We've caught up to the survival worlds, so the next one is a hard survival world. We'll see you then.